Teen who went out in Atlantic Ocean in old freezer drowns. Newsroom. Emmanuel Downer, a 14-year-old student of Lancaster Secondary School at Mahaica, tragically drowned on Wednesday afternoon after he and 3 others ventured into the Atlantic Ocean in an old freezer that capsized. The incident occurred around 4 p.m. at Unity Beach, Mahaica. Police reported that the students had left school and decided to go swimming in the ocean. According to investigators, one of the students stated that they all entered the freezer, and while they were out in the water, it capsized. Downer suddenly disappeared after the freezer overturned. One of the students contacted Downer's mother, Elisha Daly, to inform her of the incident. This led to a report being made to the Cove and John Police Station, which initiated the formation of a search party. Downer's body was discovered approximately 500 meters from shore on a sandbank in the Atlantic, entangled in a fishing seine. Police indicated that no visible signs of violence were observed on the body. His remains were taken to Memorial Gardens Funeral Home, where they will await a post-mortem examination. Persons with insufficient NIS contributions to receive payouts soon. Jagdeo. Newsroom. Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo announced on Thursday that individuals who previously did not make sufficient contributions to the National Insurance Scheme, NIS, to qualify for a pension will begin receiving checks within 2 months. They will receive a check in 2 months, Dr. Jagdeo stated. The 2025 national budget has allocated $10 billion to the NIS for this initiative. 4 years, individuals who did not meet the minimum requirement of 750 contributions to the NIS were unable to receive pension benefits. In Guyana, an NIS pension is payable to insured individuals who have reached the age of 60. To qualify, a person must have made or been credited with a total of at least 750 contributions. Boat builder sentenced to 2 years imprisonment for marijuana possession. Also fined $863,550 after pleading guilty. Hafiz Butters, a 29-year-old boat builder from Jacklow, Upper Pomeroon River, Essequibo Coast, was charged with possession of narcotics for the purpose of trafficking, specifically 959.5 grams of cannabis. This charge was laid contrary to Section 5(1)(I) of the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Act, Chapter 1010. Butters was apprehended on Monday, March 24, 2025, at Lima Public Road, Essequibo Coast, with the illegal substance in his possession. He appeared virtually on Wednesday, March 26, 2025, at the Suddy Magistrates Court before Magistrate Tamika Clark, where the charge was read to him. Butters pleaded guilty as charged and was sentenced to 2 years of imprisonment, along with a fine of $863,550. Chesney woman killed in motorcycle collision. Newsroom. An 81-year-old woman tragically lost her life after being struck by a motorcycle on Wednesday morning. The deceased has been identified as Menawati Harilal, a resident of Lot 70, Chesney New Scheme, Region 6. Her son, Ruplal Harilal, reported that his mother left home around 8:30 a.m. after completing her prayers and was heading to dispose of flowers in a trench just a few streets away. CCTV footage reviewed by this publication shows Menawati attempting to cross the road when she was struck by the motorcycle, causing her to fall onto the road surface. Villagers quickly rushed to the scene after the alarm was raised. Ruplal confirmed that the motorcyclist immediately rendered assistance. However, despite being transported to Port Mourant Public Hospital, Menawati was pronounced dead on arrival. Authorities have apprehended the motorcyclist, who is currently cooperating with the police investigation into the incident. Quarantine woman turns 104. Newsroom. Sumintra Sarju, affectionately known as Mai, proudly celebrated her remarkable 104th birthday on Thursday. Born on March 27, 1921, in East Kange, Burbis, Mai has lived a vibrant and fulfilling life. Mai met her husband, Lawrence Barrett, and together they embarked on a beautiful journey of marriage. The couple later moved to Bloomfield Village, where they raised a family of 9 children, 7 of whom are still thriving today. After more than 25 years in Bloomfield Village, Mai and Lawrence resettled in number 60 Village, Quarantine, Burbis. Sadly, her husband passed away several years ago, but Mai's resilience remains unwavering. Throughout her life, Mai worked tirelessly in the sugar industry, significantly contributing to her family's well-being. She held various roles, including cutting cane and burning grass. Additionally, showcasing her strong work ethic, she also worked in the rice fields, planting and harvesting rice. Alongside her husband, she cultivated a flourishing garden filled with a diverse range of vegetables and actively participated in fishing. At 104, Mai maintains a daily routine of waking up each morning to take a bath and do her prayers at an altar in her front yard. She enjoys the caring support of her relatives and, despite facing some health challenges, including slight hearing difficulties, she retains her ability to move around freely. As a proud matriarch, Sumitra Sarju is surrounded by an extraordinary legacy, including 44 grandchildren, 78 great-grandchildren, 68 great-great-grandchildren, and 213 great-great-great-grandchildren. Mother and son charged with attempting to bribe police with $1.7 million. Mahindra Jernandan, a 25-year-old laborer from Adventure, Essequibo Coast, and Savita Anog, a 51-year-old domestic worker from Hearst-Telling, East Bank Demerara, were jointly charged today, Thursday, March 27, 2025, with attempting to obstruct the course of justice, contrary to Section 330 of the Criminal Law, Offences, Act, Chapter 801. On Sunday, March 23, 2025, Jernandan was in custody pending an investigation into several robberies when his mother, Savita Anog, visited the police station and attempted to bribe 2 police officers with $1.7 million, Guyana currency, to drop all investigations against her son. The mother-son duo appeared at Suddy Magistrates Court before Magistrate Tamika Clark, where the charges were read to both defendants. Mahindra Jernandan pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 1 year of imprisonment. Savita Anog pleaded not guilty and was granted bail in the amount of $300,000. Her case was adjourned to April 17, 2025, for disclosure of statements. SOCU charges Chinese woman with 7 counts of money laundering. Over $52 million seized from her hotel room. Chinese national Yang Xn Su, a 30-year-old travel agent previously charged with unlawful possession of a firearm and ammunition without a license, was charged today, Thursday, March 27, 2025, with 7 counts of money laundering by the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU. Yang Xn Su appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Acting Chief Magistrate Faith McGusty, where she was not required to plead to the 7 indictable charges. The court granted Su bail in the amount of $1,500,000 for each charge of money laundering, in contravention of Section 3(1)(c) of the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Act, Chapter 1011. Su also appeared before Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman at the Diamond Magistrates Court, where she faced an additional charge of money laundering, contrary to Section 3(1)(c) of the same act. For this charge, she was placed on $200,000 bail. All cases have been adjourned to April 17, 2025, for report. The Special Organized Crime Unit stated that investigations revealed that on July 9, 2024, members of the Guyana Police Force searched Su's room at the Princess Ramada International Hotel in Providence, East Bank Demerara, as part of a gold smuggling investigation. During this search, they found 52 million Guyana dollars, GD $52,000,000, which included foreign currencies totaling 5,480 United States dollars, 5,480 US dollars, 97 Barbadian dollars, BDS $97, and 662 Surinamese dollars, SD $662, along with an illegal firearm and ammunition. A summary of the charges indicates that Su acquired and possessed several properties and motor vehicles, knowing or having reasonable grounds to believe that these assets were derived, in whole or in part, directly or indirectly, from proceeds of crime, resulting in charges of money laundering. According to the head of the Special Organized Crime Unit, Deputy Commissioner Fazil Karimbakhsh, these money laundering investigations have been ongoing for the past 8 months, and now is the appropriate time to file charges. He warned that several other money laundering investigations are still in progress and cautioned individuals engaging in this illicit activity that the long arm of the law will catch up with them and they will face prosecution. Housewife pleads guilty to unlawful wounding. Rhonda Emanuel, a 35-year-old housewife from Queenstown, Essequibo Coast, was charged with unlawful wounding of Brenda Frederick, a 30-year-old woman from the same area. The incident took place on March 4, 2025, at Anna Regina Market Road. On March 25, 2025, the case was heard at Suddy Magistrates Court before Magistrate Tamika Clark. The charge was read to the defendant, who pleaded guilty. As a result, she was sentenced to 3 months of imprisonment. Grove resident charged with possession of firearm without license. Courtney John, a 40-year-old resident of Grove Squatting Area, East Bank Demerara, was arrested on March 25, 2025, by a member of the Timeri police station. He was charged today, March 27, 2025, by a detective from the Region 4B Police Headquarters Firearms Department for the offense of possession of a firearm without a license, which occurred on March 23, 2025, at Chanta Creek on the Soesdijk-Linden Highway. The charge was laid contrary to Section 16(2) of the Firearms Act, Chapter 1605. John appeared at the Diamond Golden Grove Magistrates Court No. 2 before Chief Magistrate Judy Latchman, where the charge was read to him and he pleaded not guilty. Bail was set at $60,000, and the matter was adjourned to April 29, 2025. This incident stems from an intelligence-led police operation in Chanta Creek, where officers conducted a search and discovered a Glock 9mm pistol in a one-strap bag on the seat of a minibus. The minibus driver and passengers were taken into custody as they all denied knowledge of the firearm. John, one of the passengers, managed to evade arrest during the initial search. However, his reputed wife was among those detained and held in custody. Outstanding detective work ultimately led to John's capture and subsequent arrest. Jagdeo urges victims of Ponzi fraudster Yuri to come forward. Newsroom. PPP General Secretary and Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo has called on victims of Yuri Garcia Dominguez, a Cuban national with a history of fraud charges, to come forward and report their cases to the authorities. Despite his past legal troubles, Yuri continues to engage in deceptive practices. Speaking at his party's Freedom House headquarters in Georgetown on Thursday, Jagdeo revealed that he received a call last week indicating that Yuri had resumed his Ponzi scheme. He noted that a member of parliament had informed him that they had invested in Yuri's scheme last year. Jagdeo stated that Yuri was spotted in Unity, Mahaica, attempting to persuade individuals to invest in his fraudulent scheme. He expressed disbelief over why people in the country would believe they could receive free money in this manner. "I don't know why the people of our country would believe you can get free money like this," Dr. Jagdeo stressed. He further emphasized his concern for elderly individuals and other vulnerable groups who might be deceived into investing their savings. In his warning, he urged citizens to report anyone who approaches them on Yuri's behalf to the police. He also called on the opposition coalition, APNU, to distance themselves from Yuri, noting that Yuri claims that if APNU returns to office, he will obtain a license. The Guyana police force issued a wanted bulletin for Yuri on Wednesday in connection with 58 counts of fraud. He and his wife, Atika Ishmael, the principals of Accelerated Capital Firm Incorporated, ACFI, were arrested in 2020 and faced multiple fraud-related charges. After being released on bail of nearly $30 million, they were again wanted by the police in February 2023 for additional fraud charges and for failing to report to the police as part of their bail conditions. While some investors had received partial repayments, the process was halted following a raid by the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, at the couple's Coldingen, East Coast Demerara property, where equipment containing records of their clients was seized. Guyana receives information on U.S. sanctions against Mohammeds and May Thomas, files handed over to police and juvenile law. By news source Guyana, Attorney General Anil Nanlal has announced that the U.S. Justice Department has provided the government of Guyana with information regarding the alleged crimes committed by billionaire Nazar Mohammed, his son Azruddin Mohammed, and Government Permanent Secretary May Thomas, which led to their sanctions by the U.S. in June 2024. At a joint press conference with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio at State House on Thursday, Nanlal informed reporters that the obtained information has been forwarded to the Guyana Police Force and the Guyana Revenue Authority, GRA, for further investigation and appropriate action. Guyana had previously requested the evidence that led to the sanctions imposed by the U.S. Treasury Department. The Justice Department had also sought information from the Guyanese government. Through that exchange, law enforcement agencies in Guyana, along with the GRA, have expressed their belief that they have a sufficient volume of evidence and information to proceed with their actions. The GRA will likely address the allegations of tax evasion, while the Guyana Police Force will investigate other aspects of the evidence that may warrant legal processes, the Attorney General stated. The Mohammeds were sanctioned for allegedly underdeclaring gold and evading more than $50 million in local taxes. May Thomas faced sanctions due to her alleged involvement in a bribery scheme connected to the Mohammeds, and for reportedly offering protection against criminal prosecution and investigation, according to the U.S. report. With the information now in hand, the Attorney General emphasized that it is up to the authorities to take appropriate action in accordance with the law. However, he did not specify whether criminal charges could soon be filed based on the information received regarding the alleged crimes. That process has thus far yielded sufficient information that the tax authority and law enforcement agencies in Guyana believe provides a solid basis for them to begin their statutory processes, Nanlal noted. Although Thomas was sanctioned alongside the Mohammeds and their businesses, the Attorney General did not clarify whether she would also be the subject of investigations by law enforcement agencies. I can't speak for the law enforcement agencies or the GRA, but I am confident that their approach will be objective and evidence-driven, he said. The Attorney General added that the process of sharing information is ongoing, with his office and the Ministry of Home Affairs acting as conduits for the government, while the GRA uses a separate channel for its communication. Myself and the Home Affairs Minister are members of the government, but we do not conduct investigations. We simply pass the information onto the law enforcement agencies for them to investigate and form their conclusions, he explained. Nanlal indicated that the authorities have formally communicated their intention to take action soon. In recent days, the Mohammeds have accused the government of Guyana of victimization after the government blocked the renewal of licenses for several of their businesses. They claim that the government continued to engage in business with them even after the U.S. sanctions, suggesting that the government's current actions may be linked to the political ambitions of Azruddin Mohammed. Guyana and U.S. Inc. MOU to deepen security cooperation and tackle organized crime. By news source Guyana and the United States signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU today aimed at enhancing security cooperation between the two nations and collectively addressing the challenges facing Latin America and the Caribbean. Under the MOU, both countries commit to continuing efforts to counter narcotics trafficking and transnational organized crime. The agreement also establishes a framework for strengthening information sharing, increasing the detection of synthetic drugs, and intensifying investigations and prosecutions related to transnational organized crime, as well as fostering military-to-military cooperation. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio signed the MOU on behalf of his government, highlighting the opportunity for Guyana to transform itself for generations to come. However, he emphasized the importance of addressing existing security challenges facing both Guyana and the Caribbean region. The essential element of progress, transformation, and security is security itself. First and foremost, we want to ensure that the tragic regional problems associated with crime and transnational organized crime do not reach here, Secretary Rubio stated. Rubio noted that the MOU is designed to prevent such crimes from taking root in Guyana and the region. He also warned that threats to Guyana's territorial integrity and sovereignty pose risks to regional peace, asserting that there would be consequences for any aggressive actions. The regional threats stem from illegitimate territorial claims by a narco-trafficking regime. I have said this during my time as a senator, and I stand by it now as Secretary of State. There will be consequences for adventurism and aggressive action. That's why our partnership in this regard is important, Rubio remarked. The Secretary of State affirmed that the U.S. will not allow Venezuela's illegitimate claims to hinder Guyana's right to self-development and the realization of its aspirations. President Irfan Ali expressed gratitude for U.S. support, reaffirming that it would continue to stand by Guyana in the face of threats from its western neighbor. I appreciate the U.S.'s reassurance in safeguarding our territorial integrity and sovereignty. Our partnership and joint commitment to protect this region from disruptive forces are crucial for maintaining democracy and upholding the rule of law. We specifically discussed the threats from Venezuela, including their blatant violation of the ICJ order and the Argyle Declaration, President Ali said. Mr. Ali concluded that the agreement will enhance the partnership in combating transnational crime.